Today's meme of the day is...
Who the f*** is black person in my lobby? You better change that skin now. Hey, darky! I'm talking to you! How do I get this black out of my party? This is an anime lobby. There's no black people in an anime. Why am I on fire? Why am I getting...
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of Lads Discuss Death Battle. Avoiding that cartoon-lised anvil as your only mate.
Hey, oh, wait, hold on. What are you talking about? I don't see an anvil.
Oh, okay, usually by toon logic, you look up and an anvil should drop on you, but okay, fair enough. And unable to switch off the dynamite is Sean here. No, great, now I've got to edit Sean being blown up.
Not the first time you tried to do this, asshole.
But yes, we're here to discuss the latest episode of Death Battle, the next time, which we'll have a guest on for that, as well as our third topic, which might be our most controversial episode. Maybe. Probably. Most definitely. And speaking of controversies though, kind of, we're looking at our comments. One comment from our previous guest, Saber King, and this is to do with Kyle versus Simone. And he says, well, Billy, if you hadn't rushed me last time instead of waiting patiently, then maybe Kyle would have won. Not entirely sure that's how it works.
Yeah, because what we talk about dictates the death battle. I think he was trying to pull that joke they did in Goku versus Superman 3.
Yeah.
He tried, but he missed bad.
Yeah, you just needed to be jokery enough, Richard. You just couldn't match my skills. Okay.
We're bringing that back.
Is
that a new joke this year?
Our new jokery. Listen, if my channel gets that many views, I'm gonna freaking have a jokery plushie. Like, it's just me as the Joker and with jokery on it. But yeah, like, I will say, like, okay, I can understand if Richard and maybe even other bros who've been on Lads Discuss are not used to how we do Lads Discuss Death Battle, because, yeah, we're not as long as, like, other podcasts or even the Bro Bus cast. They go on for, like, 4 hours, sometimes 3 hours. We, you know, have responsibilities in real life, so we do have to kind of time our episodes. So we try and get out the big things before we discuss an episode.
I mean, it used to be like that, but then we learned that's a bad idea.
Yeah, we kind of moved away from making episodes so freakishly long. From RKO, great childhood shows going at it. This is to do with the prediction for Wile E versus Tom. Great childhood shows going at it. I cannot wait for this episode, and Louise having me hyped. Right now, I'm guessing that Tom may win, but holy crap, this is going to be some wacky and loony fun. I agree. During the prediction, the main thing I was really looking for, like, I didn't really care who won between these two, because these are the two sort of characters that get their asses handed all the time. So it's just entertaining to watch, and that's what I wanted for the Death Battle. Like, I just wanted it to be wacky, Looney Tunes sort of things. And moving on to our third topic one, which was the Army Death Battle. I didn't get as many views as previous third topics, but we got quite a few comments, actually. One from Yang the Insane, and this is a suggestion for the XCOM army. Here's an XCOM army idea. How about the Rangers from Wasteland series? Group of soldiers who have very little gear, weaponry, and abilities, and have to resort to improvising and helping different factions to gain the firepower to stop powerful tyrannical faction. Honestly, yeah, that's actually not a bad comparison, really. I would kind of argue, though, XCOM do gain way too many overpowered weapons compared to the Wastelanders.
I disagree because of two weapons in particular. One, a frozen ferret launcher. Yes, that's a real thing.
Yeah, that is true.
And two, grenades that literally shrink people.
Yeah, they do wear off after time, though. But, you know, well, maybe it could be a more interesting matchup. I do think the developers of Wasteland have even said they took a lot of inspirations from XCOM, because the first game was like... Man, the first game was very old, like the Wasteland game. It was kind of like...
I could not play it.
It's kind of like one of those, like... what's the best way to describe it? Do you guys ever know those old PC games where the game will just
describe like a choose-your-own-adventure game?
Yeah, like it describes a scene to you, you say what you do, and either the game's programmed like you could do that or you can't. Yeah, that's basically what the first game was. And then the second one and the third one were pretty much Dungeons and Dragons meets XCOM, really. Like, you know, you had lots of role-playing elements, but then when you engaged in combat, it had that bullshit thing where you could aim your shotgun right in a motherfucker's face, and it somehow misses. That's XCOM, baby. And from the
numbers don't lie.
they bloody lie. And from the last comment, James Reimer, I read that wrong the first time I read this comment, so you can probably guess what it is. James says, I met Jack before the Ruby cast at a convention. Pretty cool. Oh, how I wish for Handsome Jack versus Ironwood. I never actually realised just how popular of a matchup that was. Like, I remember seeing like a Brandon commission track for it, but then when I was looking up like thumbnails for it when I was editing the video, I was like, Dad, this is actually a very highly requested Handsome Jack fight. I never realised.
Yeah, it's mostly because of the similarities between the two as well. It's just like the similarities both Borderlands 2 Pandora and Ruby has just in general.
Yeah, and you know what? It is a very solid like matchup. I'll definitely be down for it. Hopefully it isn't just a one-on-one. Hopefully it is like their armies, like, because my god, just seeing like the freaking enemies from Borderlands fighting the robots from Ruby would be sick. But yeah, thank you all so much for Oh, sorry.
You say robots, like, well, actually, no, there are robots in the Atlas military.
Yeah, isn't that pretty much
they both have human and machineries in their forces, yeah.
Yeah, isn't most of Atlas forces robots? I know there's some
There's a mixture There's a mixture of, like, robots and humans, and there's also humans in mech suits.
Yeah, that's what I've always, like, thought, Like, it's very rare you see human soldiers in the Atlas army. At least from all the Ruby stuff I've seen. You know, maybe there's some behind-the-scenes stuff where it is mostly humans, and the robots were just that way of saving money on reusing models.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'll save that for later.
Fair enough. But yeah, thank you for your comments, people. And if you want to have your comments shout out in the next few videos, then, well, comment. Do it, you cowards, or Plushy Blake will kick your asses.
She'll do it. We all know I can't hold her back.
It's just Plushy Blake doing a Markiplier punch out of the screen. But yeah, so now
the only way to protect yourself is have something Yang related.
Even then, she'll probably still kick your ass and take it.
Probably.
But speaking of kicking asses, though, we are here to talk about Wile E. Coyote versus Tom from Tom and Jerry. And one of the things we definitely wanted from this episode was a very loony battle, and we got it.
For sure.
This episode is, without hands down, the funniest episode this season. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of good moments.
I also just want to say, mad respect to the researchers and just like, and the editors for like, just Wile E's like, beginning analysis alone. They drew it down every like species like list he's ever had in the cartoons.
Yeah.
Well, for that in particular, that's going to be Galaxy Max Videos. It was the episode editor for this one, and researching. Funny enough, Wile E's the other editor for Death Battle, DJ Tiki. So, a lab between the editors.
Yeah. Now, I will probably have a hot take. I do have some critiques about the fight, but of course, let's actually talk about the analysis portion of this episode. I will admit, the analysis wasn't like constantly knee-snapping funny. I would definitely say it was the more interesting learning things about, one, coyotes. Like, Jesus Christ, I did not realize there were so many mythological coyotes out there. And, Jesus Christ, yeah, just as Mate said, when they pulled up this big thing, I had to actually pause it and just read how many species. Why is there so many coyotes? Like, holy crap.
Because crossbreeding.
I mean, fair enough, but I feel like there's probably more coyotes out there than there are shark breeds. And trust me, there is a lot of sharks.
Yeah.
Imagine
Well,
trying to pronounce that at a science convention.
Yeah, like, I just
well, we don't have any in the UK, and for a reason I'm probably going to get into later, if we did, wouldn't for long.
Yeah. Like, heck, I'm just even looking at the screen right now. There's literally a coyote called Stupidus repipus. What the hell kind of name is that? Who said that with a straight face?
That scientist did many years ago.
We shall name this coyote Stupidus repipus. Can we not just call it, I don't know, Coyote 67? No. That's what we named the last coyote. Oh. Fair enough. But it's like, Jesus Christ, like, I never even realised this my first subject. Freaking barbecupin folorilitis. Was someone just hungry when they came up with that name? Like, were they just like, oh, do you want a really fatty barbecue? Barbecupin! No, I'm saying the no, forget it, fine. But, yeah, also, one thing I definitely could say about this analysis, it made me realise just how old Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry are. Like, I knew they were old, but just seeing the number again and just realising that they're still going to today is insane.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, you say that, no other Warner Brothers has anything to say about it.
hey, you know, somehow they both love and hate their IPs, it's weird.
So much so another company had to buy their movie to release it.
Like, Jesus Christ, like, yeah. And then they will release another movie with Looney Tunes, and it's like, yay, look, a Looney Tunes film, we finally released it. It's just like, why? It's like, why do you release this film, but not this one?
Yeah. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, if Wile E. Coyote versus Acme, like, releases in theaters, I'm only gonna go and watch it out of spite.
I feel like a majority of people are. Do you know what's funny? I wouldn't be surprised if the film is actually bad, but people just want to support it just because it's at least gotten out there. Another thing I was quite surprised to learn, I did not know Bugs Bunny was actually slower than the Roadrunner. I kind of thought since he was kind of like the main man of Looney Tunes, it's like, he could probably get away with, like, from the majority of the Looney Tunes cast, but it turns out, nope, he has to take a special potion to be able to keep up with Roadrunner, and even keep away from Wile E. I was like, did not expect that. I really thought Bugs Bunny was kind of like the god of Looney Tunes.
Breaking news, Bugs Bunny needs to take performance enhancers.
What's even funny is they say that only allows them to keep up with the characters, not outspeed them. So it's like, wow, even with these drugs he takes, it doesn't help him that much. But I was also surprised about many things I was not aware about Wile E's story. Like, I was not aware Acme was run by Roadrunners. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's different from, like, media. Like, there's that comic where, like, yeah, it's all Roadrunners. But then in the movie, Looney Tunes Back in Action, there are actual, like, people in charge of Acme, and shock, they're idiots.
Yeah. It was also just crazy just how in-depth they went with, like, how just unlucky, like, we all knew Wile E was unlucky, like, that's kind of his whole shtick for the viewers, like, he's that toon that has the most hilarious fails, and it's just fun to watch. I never actually realized there were rules written for him by his official creator regarding him. I was like, I'm sorry. When people mentioned this, I was like, this is probably some weird satirical joke or something like that. Like, you know, the creator was like, oh no, they have to obey rules. No, it's literally written down in the rules that this is Wile E's suffering. It's like, wow, that is... Honestly, I know he's the villain, like, he's trying to kill a bird, but at the same time, it's like, you're just a dick. Like, no one deserves that.
I was just reading some of the Arsenal slide for a second here, and it's just like, okay, I didn't know he had this looking back on it. He has, for example, an Iron Man suit and a Green Lantern ring. How can he use the ring if he can't speak?
He goes to do, like,
well, I mean, there are
both, and it just fails.
I mean, Sean, there are those cartoons where he's with Bugs and he does speak.
Dude, now that I think about it, even if he did use the Green Lantern ring, 99% chance that it would just backfire on him. Like, he summons, like, a
No, could you imagine,
graph.
like, he tries to do the oath, and then it just, like, powers down, and then he just falls.
It just runs out of battery.
It glows green, and then there's that cartoonish, like, smoke comes out of it.
Just a fart sound.
Just makes an anvil over his head, a green anvil.
No, dude, he goes to summon a Green Lantern, like, anvil, it misses the target, he just summons, like, a Green Lantern umbrella. But, yeah, I was just surprised about other things as well, like, at one point he stopped a meteorite from hitting the Earth, which is like, okay, Acme just has weaponry that can stop the world, and the fact that, Martin the Martian has a weapon that could destroy not just the Looney universe, but also our universe. It's like when they showed the clip of that artist being sucked into the pain, that was actually kind of horrifying to watch. It's like, oh, that is very disturbing.
Makes you question how Marvin constantly loses to Duck Dodgers.
Because he
See, writers, this is why you should be careful of what you make.
Because there was no kaboom. There should have been an earth-shattering kaboom.
Oh, by the way, this is like a blinking you'll miss it because I saw a lot of, like, not a lot of people, at least I watched, notice this. When they compared, like, Wile E, like, teaching to, like, say, Naruto.
I love that of it.
Like, the sign of him holding up Believe It, and he has the Sharingan in one eye.
I know, it's so good. You know what's funny? Me and Bernie were actually watching this episode yesterday, and I've also tried to convince her to watch Naruto because it's on Netflix at the moment. And she legit actually asked, like, "Wait, was Wile E in an anime?" And I was just like, "No, that's just a funny little animation Death Battle dude." And she was actually saying, like, "Can you imagine what a Looney Tunes anime would look like?" And I'd just be like, I feel as though it would probably be like...
Jesus Christ.
I feel as though, like, each trap that Wile E has would take about 2 episodes to fail. Like, it's just it's 20 minutes of a plane heading his way to fail, and he's just holding up different signs that's monologuing, like, his inevitable demise.
See?
Oh god, I just realized, if there's a Looney Tunes anime...
Wait, is
Jesus Christ, if Lola Bunny is in it.
I'm taking a look to see if there's anything official. Hang on.
Overall though, yeah, Wiley's analysis was really funny, like, and it was just crazy just learning things. Like, I was pretty informative on the Wile E, but of course, I never watched everything Looney Tunes. Like, Christ, people, the series has been going on for nearly 100 years, like... I'm not gonna know everything. Also, isn't it just crazy to realise Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry are nearly public domain now?
Getting close.
Does this mean we're gonna get a Tom and Jerry horror film like Winnie the Pooh? Please don't.
First of all, there is already 2 horror movie Winnie the Poohs called Blood and Honey.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, please can we not have a Tom and Jerry horror film like Winnie the Pooh?
Second, by the way, is that, yes, there is a Looney Tunes anime, technically.
Oh my god, of course there is. Why am I shocked?
It is called Lunatics Unleashed.
Oh, okay, technically not an anime, but anime inspired. And that show did come with some controversy.
Oh. Yeah, I've seen, like, pics of this. Never watched it.
Yeah. Funny enough, I think I brought this up in the last episode. Wile E's character in that show, his gimmick is that, well, he's a brilliant scientist, but also he has
here's
a
what's thing.
factor.
Apparently, all these characters you see are descendants of the Looney Tunes counterparts. So Wile E's child is called Tech E Coyote.
Yeah. I mentioned this in the last episode as well. They literally have a picture of this in the animation studio with a big sign above it saying, "Do not do this again." And Looney Tunes will frequently make fun of this this series. Even though as a kid, I remember liking it. But it seems as though when it first released, not a lot of people liked it, especially children.
Oof.
Yeah. But another character. I guess we'll move on to Tom and Jerry. Unless you guys have any Wile E things you want to bring up.
Nah, I'm good to move on.
The analysis for Wile E was really interesting. Also, I kind of enjoyed learning the rules that Chuck Jones set in place. Like, the fact that he made rules for the cartoon originally is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, they were generally, like, the rules of, like, you know, how he structures his characters, you know. Like, this is, like, the format that's got to happen because, for the comedy aspect. But obviously, when you take into consideration a lot of the Looney Tunes characters have met their creators, it's fair to assume, like, yeah, this is literally word of God.
While he just walks up to him, holds up a sign saying, "The bro."
Also, the fact that in the background, they just throw in some other cartoons as Wile E sitting on that rock. Like, apparently they put in, I think it's like Milo's Law or Murphy's Law, from, like, the creators of Phineas and Ferb made that show. And apparently they're like, let's throw Danganronpa 2 in there. Why? Because Max likes Danganronpa. Okay. It's fun when the editors get to be able to share their interest in a video.
Speaking of interest in a video, though, like Tom and Jerry's analysis, I was not aware of the original origin of the show's name and the inspiration for it.
Nor was I.
That was so cool to learn about.
What's crazy is that I know about that story, but I never put two and two together. Like, one guy's got
4.
Tom and...
Well, you said put 2 and 2 together. 4.
I thought you were saying like 4 from like Marvel comics. I was like, what does 4 have to do with these? And then, but then it's like,
well done, mate. Well done.
You threw me for a loop, but in the end, it was just me being stupid, not getting the joke. Well played. But yeah, I just.
Bill's got to go back to math.
No, not the maths. Anything but the maths. But like, okay, like I had an idea there was some weird inspiration for Tom and Jerry, but never knew it was based on like this old British story, Tom and Jerry. And it was funny. I know about this story. To be fair, they're not really that special. They're like those little art pictures you saw in like newspapers and stuff like that. You know, those joke comic books.
Oh, like the Sunday comics, yeah, like Garfield.
Yeah, it was kind of like an old school version of that. And it was just 2 characters that got into shenanigans, really. I don't think there's that many stories, to be honest. But I don't know how I never thought it was funny. Like, Tom and Jerry, Like, I don't know why, like, all my years of knowledge on books and comics, and I never put those together. And, Jesus Christ, Tom was definitely more powerful than I think even we gave him credit for in the last episode.
I noticed a common trend here.
Yeah. I'm just... okay, they didn't show any footage of this, I don't think, but in his background, has a lookalike cousin who is scared of mice. I remember that episode, him and Tom, like, work together and they scare the absolute crap out of Jerry.
Also, I don't know why, but the Heavenly Puss joke got me.
Yeah, you could tell the show was made during a very interesting time. And I'm actually quite surprised they didn't show... Actually, I'm not that surprised, because even I was kind of skeptical about showing a lot of the blackface jokes. They do kind of reference it a little bit with Tom's original owner.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I cannot completely understand why they wouldn't show some of the gags that Tom and Jerry got away with back then. It was a different time.
By the way, I'm also snickering because in Tom's analysis they had that clip of that cat like seeing a cucumber and just like jumping into the air.
I know, the little boing sound effect they added to it as well.
Man, shout out to Speedy for like being able
Dude,
to find out the origin of Tom and Jerry, dude. Like, he went all out for it.
Yeah, and I will say, I feel like Tom's analysis was not only just interesting, I did think it was more funnier than Wile E's analysis. Like, Wile E had a few gags and stuff like that, But like Boomstick's reaction to the freaking gotcha game that Mate brought up in the last one, Tom and Jerry Chase.
Yeah, I am so happy they brought that up.
Yeah.
Like, with how long I was like hyping that up and like how insane it was, like if it just wasn't present, I would have been mad.
Yeah. It's the fact they go so dramatic talking about the story while saying it with a straight face. The Devil Tom was pushing away the darkness of the universe. It's like, you guys are saying that with such a straight attitude. It's actually hilarious. And then Boomstick's just
imagine pitching this to Warner Brothers.
Well, apparently
with a straight face.
Warner Bros said yes. And it's just Boomstick's
Well, exclusively in other countries.
Yeah, but it's the fact like Boomstick's just
More than Coyote versus Acne got.
Yeah. It was also like Boomstick's, what the fuck? Before Wiz came on, I was like, okay, I know this sounds crazy, but it's like, you think? Like, well, I thought like, okay, when May brought that up, it was like, he brought up some good things about it, like, it was basically like the Sun Wukong story. I was like, I don't think it was that deep as Mate is saying it, and then they showed it, I was like, holy shit, like, I know Mate a beer. Like, it was,
I don't really like the taste of beer, if I'm honest.
nah, Pepsi Max is better, not sponsored.
So true.
Especially the cherry one, not sponsored. But it was like, I think that section there was just, that made the analysis just that much better. It was just how dramatic and serious Wiz was reading out the lore of this gotcha game. And it was just like, they had to have at least smirked or snickered while they were reading that. Like, if they didn't, then, pardon me, they have no sense of humour. I also like the fact they showcased a lot of the classic, like, either Tom expressions or the memes, like Tom sneak into a closet, evilly laughing. I love that gag. And even the "Don't you believe it" with Wiz, like, perfectly lip syncing with Tom.
I feel like that's something just in general, Galaxy Max has been really good at. It's just dubbing them as the character says that exact line. It's one of his specialties, as we saw way back when in Rick vs. Doctor.
Yeah, I just absolutely love, like, the gag of it. They showed so many classic, like, Tom moments, and I loved it. Just overall, like, it was interesting learning about the crazy lore of Tom and Jerry. I would definitely say I think Tom and Jerry's lore is a bit more crazy than Wile E's. I'm not saying Wile E's wasn't crazy, it was just more shocking, like, learning things about Wile E's. But Tom's had more what the f*** type of, like, responses. Especially with a lot of the reactions I've seen. So many people looking at the freaking Wukong story like, what? Like, that alone sold this analysis, and I was like, you know what, analysis? You went from an 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 with just getting the reactions of people.
I gotta say, thank you, Max, for... that's Max with few trades, by the way. Not Galaxy Max. Like, why do there have to be multiple Maxes?
Because we mixed up maximum amount of
for telling me about this.
Yeah.
He must have had one hell of a time looking at a gotcha game from China.
Surprisingly, China and Japan have a lot of, like, exclusive, like, gacha things. Like, I'm not sure if you guys know about this. There's actually a Japan exclusive Left 4 Dead game with none of the original characters, like none of the OG characters. It's with, like, these weird Japanese students, yet they're set within the, like, levels of Left 4 Dead.
Because censorship in Japan was weird with Left 4 Dead.
Well, it wasn't just censorship. They just... It was specifically for, like, it's an arcade exclusive. So they're like, right, we can't have the main characters, so we got to change them up for the arcade version. It's like, what? It's weird, like... it's weird with a lot of arcade games. But no, if I ever do
weird.
If I ever do go to China, I want to kind of look up that Tom and Jerry gacha game and play it myself, and I can confirm whether it's good or bad. Yeah, final thoughts. Analysis was great. It was funny, and it didn't feel like a chore sitting through it, which I liked. Do you guys have any final says before we move on to the fight?
I'm actually surprised that Robin got a mention. You know, from that Tom and Jerry movie where they spoke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
To be fair, there was like a lot of material for Tom and Jerry, so like they picked a good one.
Yeah. You know, people always get mad about that films they had the characters talk. They have canonically talked in previous Tom and Jerry material.
Yeah.
Don't you believe it?
Yeah. Not just that, like, I still remember that one gag I loved was when Tom was like running away from Spike, and there was like this cat girl. He kept like running up to her, kissing her on the arm and running away. And at one point, Spike decided to take her place, and Tom like held him down and was doing like this weird, like dramatic, like seductive voice to Spike as he carried on kissing him.
Oh god, yeah.
Until we realised the girl, and he was just like,
Didn't he like drop him?
Yeah, and then he ran away.
Also, the fact
And
that
then, of course,
Boomstick
there's,
likes Furious still.
Yeah, I mentioned this in my reaction. I'm kind of getting tired of the Boomstick hates cats joke.
Just, it's probably because I haven't seen it in a while. Like, what episode was it that Boomstick mentioned his dislike for cats?
It was literally introduced in Beerus vs. Galaxia.
Oh wow, no, I haven't watched that episode in a while, mainly because it's kind of hard to watch now because it's not on YouTube anymore.
Well,
To be fair,
yeah.
hating Morgana is justified.
Yeah, and then at the end of that episode, he was suddenly like, oh, you know what, I like cats now. And then the next episode where they mention one, he's like, I hate them. And then another one doesn't get brought up at all.
Some people aren't cat people, man.
Yeah.
If Boomstick's not a cat guy, he's not a cat guy.
I think one thing we could definitely agree with Boomstick on is though, like, Tom definitely deserves some wins over Jerry on certain episodes.
True.
Like the freaking $1 million episode, like, yeah, Tom definitely deserved his crash out of that.
I'm giving away $1 million. But I'm happy! Woo!
That is without a doubt my favourite, like, Tom win episode. Like, the fact he quickly stops trying to crush him just to talk to the camera. Oh, it's comedy gold. I guess if we're talking about comedy gold, though, shall we move on to the actual fight?
Okay.
And, boy, if you guys ever did any Easter egg hunting around the house, there was, Jesus Christ, so many Easter eggs.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some that
Like,
might be hinting to a death battle that could be coming soon.
Like, one of the ones I remember when I pulled this episode up immediately was in like that picture frame when they say it's doing the death battle intro. I saw Among Us and Fall Guys like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call that immediately as well.
There was also a Kyle and one of the chipmunks in one of the bookcases.
Simon.
I'm not too familiar with the chipmunk lore. But whoever lived in this house
Happy
was
Squiff.
definitely a nerd. But now, yeah, I don't really know a funny way to start this episode. This episode was freaking hilarious. This fight's particularly. And I guess we kind of called how the episode was going to start. You know, both the guys are trying to kill their rivals, and then something happens, they both escape, and they both fight each other.
I do like just when the word fight pops up under it it's just championess choicitus. Yeah. Nice little nod to the champions because they chose this fight.
Yeah. It's also like, I like the little thing when it shows like Tom and Wile E's like name, including Jerry and Roadrunners. It has, because in the original Wile E and episodes, it will show like the species as well. I think it was like the Spanish translation for it. Like for the species names. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, I like the fact they kept that gag for this episode.
I also like how I slowed it down. Like, you can see Jerry with a cowboy hat on top of Roadrunner as they run away.
I know. Just meep meep. I love that. And yeah, there's so many things to talk about, like what was like a really funny moment. Like for me, I love the fact as soon as the fight starts, the majority of it is they're both like just smacking each other because, you know, they're both not used to really fighting each other, so they stick to like their cartoony like shticks. But as the fight escalates, they start going a bit more crazy with their arsenal. Like, I love Wile's freaking boxing glove gun. It hits Tom at first, but then it goes off camera and somehow goes all the way around, and punches Wile in the back of the head. It's like too logic. Now,
Yep.
I do have
And
some...
of course,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and of course in the background we got like Doctor Who's TARDIS. There's like a figurine of Ash in there as well.
Yeah, don't know who he's standing next to, though. It's a bit too blurry.
Yeah, it's not Yugi. I can say that.
Yeah,
Like,
I have no
it's
idea.
actually weird. There's an Ash reference and no Yugi one. At least not that I found.
Yeah, that is weird. But, yeah, and...
Wait, hold on.
I do have some critiques with the animation at first. Now, when it shows Tom chasing after Jerry, it looks pretty smooth and everything like that. But it's around when Wile and Tom start fighting. Is it just me, or did it kind of feel a little bit like cheap at some moments? Like Tom's scream, like it just looks like they just grabbed his model and just like kind of like shimmied it with like the, you know, the little barriers you can do for like Photoshop and stuff like that when you can move like the image around. Yeah, it just kind of looked like that. It just kind of looked like they got it in the brackets and was just like shimmying like the model as Tom was screaming. But other than that though, like after like the dust ball thing and like the boxing glove thing, like it goes back to being like a very smooth and cartoony like episode. It was just like a few scenes and frames where it did kind of look a bit cheap.
Yeah, I feel like I somewhat noticed it, but didn't at the same time.
No, I think because the episode managed to carry it with the humor aspects. Like, I love this moment when Wiley's preparing the fat lady nuke, and Tom's trying to sneak up on him with his like invisibility potion, and as he's about to jump in, Wiley's like small fuse thing just goes off and hits them both. It's like Wiley's F up actually saved him at that moment.
True.
Again, which is something we wanted to see. We wanted to see these inventions backfire just for the comedy aspect. I also just love the fact, like, at some point the room just turns into a freaking World War I sort of trench style fight, but after the explosion it just goes back to being a normal house.
Yeah, they were fighting in the house the entire time.
Yeah, so first I was like, why are they here? And I was like, oh, this is like a cartoony, like, dramatic effect.
Speaking of cartoon gags, like I love when they did the classic Roadrunner gag. I don't know why. It's just like very nice.
They're running around, but then they have to take a breather because they're exhausted.
That one and just the one where they paint the tunnel on like a cliff.
Yeah, they had to bring in that gag. That is like the most iconic Wile E. Coyote like gag.
Oh, speaking of that gag, so there's a little behind the scenes fact. It doesn't come up very well in the actual episode, but that truck that comes out of the drawing at them, yeah, that was being driven by Roadrunner and Jerry.
Wait, was it?
Yeah, I think Luis tweeted that on Twitter a while back.
Oh wow. I
Yeah.
think
I'll see if I can find this post and send it to you.
But there was a lot of small gags I loved as well. Like, I loved the moment when like Wiley summons the Acme drop, and please tell me I wasn't the only one that thought about the Call of Duty cargo drops.
Oh, you mean care packages?
Yeah. Like, that's all I just thought about. But I also just love how it shows a shadow that it's about to hit Tom, but it lands on Wiley instead. But Tom still gets hit by the jet plane that crashes.
Okay. So this might be like one of, well, okay, no, I have a couple quote unquote issues with the fight. how does one injury cause Tom to lose like all of his lives all at once?
I do actually.
Well, let's
agree
see
with that.
there.
I do agree with that. I did feel as though that felt a little bit too, like, I don't know, quickly.
To be fair, he has lost all his lives before in one shot, so.
I think it's just more so to add stakes to the fight, showing like, oh, Tom's down to his last life and stuff like that.
No, yeah, I get it. It's just, I don't know. It's just like it could have been done better, is what I'm getting at. But then again, I also don't know how else you would have done it.
Yeah, I guess they could have had it where, you know, when they used the anti-tuner thing, like maybe it would have made the lives just leave the body, realizing the body's like screwed up too much, that they're just like, oh. I don't know, I guess it's a bit more tricky than we thought, so I think this is like the easier option, you know, just have it so that Tom only manages to save one of them. And
also, just like when they leave the video during the truck gag, though.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, I love that. I also like the little fake videos they have on the right side, like the freaking. I love the fact they made fun of this typical like short video trope where it's like Ben versus Chad is not close at all. It's like those videos are so lame. Like, I don't like those videos.
Yeah, and that was made by Sam Mitchell. There's like guys 4 got faster. Liam Swan posting Omni-Man vs. Homelander debunked.
Yeah,
I do like also just to remind people like Raguma versus Hot Dog, literally 3 months until episode 200 of Death Battle.
Yep.
Yeah, like just overall, I was laughing
Which
so
comes out not long. That actually comes out around my birthday as well.
God damn, man. It's crazy I went near it, like
Which-
the 200th episode.
Yeah, please don't be an episode that will hurt me.
Here's episode 200, everybody. Anguish is the Traveler. Why? 'Cause screw you.
Yeah, just overall, there's just so many great gags in this one fight. Like, I especially love this little moment when they're falling and he pulls out, like, while he pulls out the anti-tuner serum and Tom has to put on his, like, reading glasses and, like, increase the image just to see it. Like, I don't know why, just that one little guy, he's like, let me have a look. Like, I love that, like, the build up to it. And it's the fact Wiley allowed him just to quickly have a little read of it. He's like, I'll let him take his time. Don't say Wiley doesn't have honor. And I also kind of like just how brutal it is, because they both got covered in the, you know, the anti-cartoon juice, whatever it was called again. And yeah, when they actually fall to the ground, you see a lot of their bones have been like cracked and stuff like that. It actually looked pretty brutal.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Also, I like how like Wiley's still pulling out the signs, being like, "Take this and this." Tom takes one, turns it around, so, "Oh yeah, how about this? Let's see how you like it."
You know what's funny? As you were reading out each one of those signs, the image on my screen was literally going into each one of those signs. It's like you timed that perfectly.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, the big surprise for a lot of people, Tom lost.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
So I want to just like make a little callback, because you know how there's like a blood splatter when he gets squished?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember in Raven vs. Twilight when Ben was all like, okay, so going forward we want to make sure that any gore and death battle deaths are like, you know, is like appropriate to the characters. So, you know, that's why Twilight's was relatively cartoony and clean. Who cares about Tom? Let's have him get like squished like a bug.
Well, according to Luis, it was ketchup, not blood.
I just like to remind people Ben said that once.
Yeah. I also feel as though they probably did it to avoid the My Little Pony fans can be quite passionate. I don't care if Luis says that was ketchup, and that was blood. Like, at no point was he holding ketchup.
No, like, that joke led to him and Liam just going back and forth about it.
I also
the
like
funniest thing for a few minutes.
Yeah. I also like the gag, like, making it seem like Wile E dies, he pulled up the umbrella, but the fact the umbrella actually saved him, and hey, he tasted victory, so he was allowed to finally speak.
And I just got to the big part of the episode I really hate.
What's that?
Okay, so after, like, I guess we'll go into the post-analysis.
Yeah, because I think we've set up piece about the fight. Like, I think it was a hilarious fight. Do you guys have any?
Yeah, it was.
Sean?
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, like, I might have, like, a couple, like, nitpicks here and there, but overall it was still a fun time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I was never bored at any point in the fight. I've actually noticed, like, the cheapness and some of the, like, the slow movement on my rewatches. Yeah, I guess we'll move to the post-analysis.
Yeah, okay, so I like Wiz's gag of, like, oh, thank God one of them actually died this time.
I know, that was the one thing many people were talking about.
Yeah. What I don't like is that picture they showed afterwards.
The poor little catto.
Yeah, no, I do not need to actually see that. And, fun fact, by the way, there's a friend of mine in America who's actually had to chase off coyotes to avoid that exact situation.
Coyotes are assholes.
Yeah, they are. And, I mentioned this earlier that we don't have coyotes in the UK. If we did, you bet that your ass I would have killed a lot of them.
And in Red Dead 2 fashion, he would have sold the pelts.
Hey, Boomsday made a thing, he doesn't like dog killers, I don't like cat killers.
I just don't like pet killers in general.
That too.
Do you know what's funny as well? Like, again, YouTube, like, censored Spawn versus Ghost Rider because Spawn was like, motherfucker. They don't censor this episode that shows a literal cat being killed.
You know what? It just goes into my joke. Like, yeah, YouTube is just run by Mrs. Broflovsky from South Park. Violence is okay as long as people don't say any naughty words.
Exactly.
So, I don't know what's weirder, Acme being run by Roadrunners or YouTube being run by Mrs. Broflovsky?
Both. Both is good. Well, bad.
Both is good. Nope, you can't take that bad. You heard Bill first. Both is good.
No, I'm gonna get cancelled.
Does that mean one of us has to start singing that song, Kyle's Mum is a Bitch?
Please don't. You can actually get copyrighted for that. I'm not even kidding. Well, it depends on how accurate you sing to Carmen. I remember there was like a Death Battle episode. They sung a theme tune to a cartoon so accurately it got the episode copyrighted.
It was the Danny Phantom one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was. It was like, I don't want to suffer the same fate.
Yeah. I even heard a couple like reaction channels got flagged for like the exact same reason.
They're just that good at singing. Now, I guess the thing I'm wanting to talk about in the post-analysis, do I agree with this episode? I'm kind of mixed. Not like Omni-Man versus Bardock. Like, I could totally see Wile E winning, the death battle. I just feel as though Tom should have more opportunities compared to Wile E.
I think the only thing I kind of disagree with was just the Arsenal aspect of it.
Yeah, because majority of Wile E's Arsenal screws him over. That's literally the whole gag.
Yeah, and also like Tom can just imagine whatever he wants into existence.
Yeah.
So that basically makes his arsenal literally infinite.
Yeah. And I do agree, yeah, Tom is definitely smart. I mean, he's actually won a few episodes against Jerry. In terms of, like, stats, though, I definitely agree, because everything they showed about Wile E and stuff like that, I can totally agree, like, yeah, he's clearly faster and potentially stronger than Tom. Like, indisputable about that.
Right.
I do actually agree though with, as they worded it, toonliness, because the thing after the episode, like after Wiley's analysis, I was thinking to myself, right, I think Wiley's more screwed than we thought. But the fact they actually found a loophole around it, showing like, hey, Wiley actually does have a way of surviving. It's only when he tries to affect the Roadrunner. It's like, oh, that is actually true.
Yeah, I like how, like, to give evidence of that, they do this whole, like, we dove deep into Looney Tunes, and we end up in a surprising place. Space Jam.
I know, of all things that gives Wiley the win.
The fact that Space Jam and Space Jam 2 are what saved Wiley.
Jesus Christ.
The only time anyone will ever be thankful for LeBron James.
He's pretty fun at multiverses.
Rip.
I mean,
I guess he was fun to use. But, yeah, it was actually crazy, because I was thinking to myself, like, I don't know, maybe it was just bad memory. It's like, I'm certain there's been an episode where Wiley has actually, like, you know, succeeded something. Not against the Roadrunner, but against someone, surely. And yeah, it turns out it was. It was against a lot of villains as well as the Monstars. It was like, okay, fair enough. Like, that still surprised me. And yeah, I do buy the fact that Wiley, in terms of toonliness, like, you know, he has the, you know, the serum that could actually nullify Tom's, like, toon force. But again, though, this goes into saying that I think it adds to the Arsenal aspect. His Arsenal is doomed to always backfire on him, so I do feel as though that serum should have backfired on him more than it would have backfired on Tom.
Yeah, I mean, it did in the fight.
Yeah, I know, but I feel as though it's
and then at that point, it just comes down to, like, stats, like who's stronger and faster.
Yeah, so I think, you know, if Wiley, you know, managed to use that serum and get a hit on Tom, then yeah, his stats will allow him to win. But because Tom's definitely a lot smarter and a lot of Wiley's Arsenal would backfire on him, that's the aspect I'm still kind of struggling with. I just feel as though Tom has more opportunities than Wiley does. Especially when you consider, like, a lot of his speed feats come from either different mechs, different cars. So it's like, you can't guarantee this is, like, physical stats, because he's needed, like, a car to keep up with, like, when Roadrunner outsped, like, you know, time. Because a lot of the times, Roadrunner doesn't go his max speed against Wiley, because he, you know, he's a troll. Like, he's, you know, he's belittling him. There's even times he'll slow down to be like, oh, you're gonna get me, psych. So, yeah, I'm not saying, oh, the episode's wrong or debunk Death Battle. It's more so like, I feel as though there's more opportunities for Tom to win than there is for Wiley. But the explanation wasn't half-assed. I can see where they were coming from. Like, it's definitely better explained than why Omni-Man beats Bardock.
I feel like we're beating a dead horse by bringing that episode up.
Alright, let's think of another episode we disagree
you guys?
with. Captain Marvel versus Android 18? Question mark?
Does anyone care about that episode?
Bill does if he picked that one.
I do. I like Captain Marvel. No, not that film. No,
Which
get
one?
that out of here.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I said which one.
Yeah. No, I'll even say I don't actually understand a lot of the Captain Marvel hate. Like, even like, especially like the movie version. Like, I went and saw the movies, didn't hate them.
The Marvels, I can completely understand why people hate Captain Marvel from that film. First film, no, I never saw the hate for it.
Yeah. Well, the second film, I would say watch it for Kamala Khan.
Yeah, if you're expecting this to be a really cool movie with different Captain Marvel-like characters, you're gonna get it, but you're also not gonna get it, if that's the best way to describe it. Yeah, overall though, like, the explanation made sense to an extent. I would argue, like, I feel as though Tom should win more, and I'm not alone in that. A lot of people seem to feel like that in the comments, but people still say the episode was entertaining enough that they can look past it. Like, I feel as though people do tend to forget you can disagree with an episode, but still like the episode.
Yeah.
Like, I disagree, like, I know, beating a dead horse. I disagree heavily with Bardock vs. Omni-Man, it's still kind of in my, like, well, I was going to say top 10 episodes of last year. It's like, oh wait, there was only 4 episodes, so...
it exists.
Yeah, like, if I had to do, like, a complete, like, top, like, 50 list, Omni Man vs. Bardock's definitely up there, despite my disagreement with it. And this is going to be one of those episodes as well. Like, I'm not sure I entirely agree with it. It's I think it's probably in my top 20 episodes. Yes, nostalgia definitely plays a factor in it.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, do you guys have any final says before we move on?
I think.
No, go ahead, Sean.
This episode was a really fun time overall.
Yeah, for sure. And, well, hopefully the next episode will be something similar. Oh, hell yes!
Oh, there's the anvil.